Hey everyone, it's time for episode 2. Hey everyone, welcome back. Um, my name's Andrew, and you are watching Cross-Eyed. Um, if you're if you're back, if this is just if you're watching episode 2, thank you very much. You're with a handful of people. I appreciate it. If you're the first time, awesome. Thanks for watching my video either way. If you're watching this thing all the way through to the end, then bless you, bless your heart for being patient. Try to keep these videos not too long. I don't think maybe they're easier to stomach. I could talk for a long time awkwardly, and it might just be better if I keep these kind of short. It's a nice balmy summer day wherever you are. If you're watching this, hopefully you're cool. Um, Again, work on fixing this background. It's a bunch of video games. But that's what I'm working with for the moment. So I'm gonna look past that. Today I'm going to talk about kind of more detailed. I touched on it in the first episode, and maybe a more detailed version of where I was versus where I am now, religiously, spiritually, whatever word you want to use. Um, I will, if you to follow up, I am spent most of my adult life agnostic atheist. I think is the appropriate label. Um, and then over the last year, well, let's start with the story. I don't remember what triggered it. Well, to be honest, I think I watched um, Prince of Egypt, the delightful animated movie from the '90s, DreamWorks, really good. I've seen it countless times, but for some reason, this time I watched it, and I just got really curious about the history of it, or archaeological aspects, or just anything related to it. I got really like, oh, that's kind of, I don't know what spurred it. Um, but the whole aspect of, I mean, we all know the story of the Exodus and Moses, even if you have no religious background. It's just such a story that's been around for thousands of years. Everyone knows it, I feel like. But I got really curious, and beyond just the story, what's the historical significance, stuff like that. And so what started with that, I kind of went down a slow rabbit hole. It was a slow ascent, because I think like descent sounds negative. I don't like try not to use that word, so I'll say ascent. I just became more interested in the Iron Age. I'm not sure the right term to use. Biblical times. Just again from a purely historical standpoint, like what was actually going on back then. I didn't really have a good understanding, and there's so much information out there. There's a ton of information you could spend all day, but so I just feeding that hunger and that curiosity. And one day, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, so I'll repeat myself across these videos, I promise. I just got out of leaving band practice, and I just got a wild hair, and I stopped at a used bookstore. I just bought a Bible. I've never owned a Bible. I've never read a Bible. Um, and I took it home, and I think I picked it out because I had a how to read the Bible in a year plan in it. Um, I will maybe I'll do a video on my Bibles because you can see it here. Sorry, this one it's like has flowers and stuff on it. I thought it was pretty. Um, but I started so when January 1st, 2025, woke up New Year's Day and I started reading it. And the more I read, the more interested I became and fascinated. And at some point, I think February ish, a couple months in, I realized I didn't like the way it was laid out because it was the full Bible, but it's not the books in chronological order. they were kind of laid out so to fulfill the plan of reading a year, which I appreciate. Not for me. So I ended up buying back to a used bookstore, and I found an old like Gideon's Bible, the ones I don't know if they're still in the hotels. I can remember finding them. They're always there. They have some nice passages, especially if you're not familiar like me. And they have a little section, like if you're going through hard times or grief or whatever you might be with, there's a nice little section, just a quick reference to some passages you can read to kind of aid you with whatever you're feeling. And that was an ESV. That's the English Standard Version, for those not in the know. And I read that, and yeah, the more I read, the more interested I became. I'm gonna hold up the Bible I read the most now, the New King James Version. That original one I got, that's a King James Version. I love the poetness of it, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the English language. I really struggled reading that one. So no offense to those who love it. I think it's a good. I think there's no bad Bible to read. I kind of started falling in love with the New King James. It's a little bit easier for me to grasp, and I think understanding the message is important. The more I read, the more, like I said, I'm repeating myself. I just more and more fascinated, and I found myself starting to be something inside me was like, Andrew, this kind of makes sense. It kind of goes against, it felt really weird because it went against everything I believed my whole life, basically, especially as an adult, the last 20 years, 20 plus years. Yeah, and even so, most of my life, if somebody would sneeze, I would say Gesundheit, because it felt disingenuous to say bless you, because like, oh, why would I say bless you if I don't believe that? And just the little things I noticed. One day somebody sneezed and I said, God bless you. And I was like, Andrew, why'd you say that in my head? Of course, I'm not a lunatic talking out loud. I'm talking out loud now, but maybe somebody's listening. Yeah, just those little changes you start to notice about yourself. And I'm still me. Still have my interests. I still have music and spending time with my friends and family, but man, I craved whatever was that change that was happening spiritually, that growth I felt. Some people say if you're not connected, you have that God-shaped, God-sized hole in your heart, and maybe that was filling in finally. It's wild. And so a long time, just because, being pretty secular, I think like most people, if you're watching this, maybe you're like me, you might agree. I had a hard time kind of grasping things that didn't make sense, that I couldn't see. I was a man of science. I'll use these a lot because maybe I don't understand the usage. I was pretty factual. Like if I can touch it, I can hear it. It's real. Things beyond my belief, I really struggled with. And I think maybe that's why I said I was agnostic, because there's no way to know for sure. A friend made a reference once that I really like, and this kind of helped me wrap. Might seem silly, but it kind of helped me wrap my head around it. Classic David Bowie song, Starman. The line is, "I'd love to come and see you, but I think I'd blow your mind." And that just that little lyric had an impact on me. I was like, if God were to come visit us, I don't think we could. We have the mental capacity to handle His awesomeness. So it's easy to discredit and like, oh, I don't believe in God, but like, I just don't think we can truly grasp it. And a couple months back, I had to run home on my lunch break. And I was pretty involved at this point. I mean, I'm listening to like the Catholic talk radio on the in the car drive more than I was listening to music. Just trying to understand, make sense of it. I still don't belong to a denomination. I'll do that's a whole another talk to have. Still trying to figure that out. But I was like, I don't really pray because it was hard to go over that feeling. It was like it felt weird, felt silly, and that was something I had to get over. But it's easy once you start doing it. If you don't do it now, just try it. I promise. I can't promise. I'm pretty confident you'll start to feel better once you start doing it. So driving back to work, I turned my radio off. I just had this feeling like I'm just gonna pray right now in the car. I wasn't even sure if that was okay. I wasn't sure if that was sacrilegious or offensive, but I just had a quiet moment. And I was just like, I didn't know how to pray or respect. I would talk to God. I was like, God, I don't know if I'm on the right path, but I think I am. And I would appreciate just some sort of sign, just a guidance to let me know maybe I'm wasting my time, maybe I'm not. Just something to show what I've been doing, what I've been feeling is correct, and not just me in my head. So I was like, wrapped up with an amen. Thank you and amen. And I get off an exit I wouldn't normally take, mind you. And I pull up behind the car. And of all the cars I could have got behind, of all that, I could have taken a different exit. I could have done a multitude of different ways to get back. And I come behind this vehicle, specifically a 4Runner. I remember that. And they had a sticker on the windshield, the rear window. It was a sticker of the Cavalry Cross. And I was like, oh man, this is a minute, 30 seconds between me finishing my prayer and this happening. And I feel like a crazy person to tell the story and say it out loud. I know some people was like crazy coincidence, maybe synchronicity, but it felt so. The fact that happened right after I finished my prayer, and I've never prayed before, and I was specifically just asking for a sign. It felt too out of this world. To reference my earlier, I don't think I have the capacity to understand. Like it felt divine. I felt like that was a sign and that kind of concluded, like, I guess I believe in God now. That's a thing. I'm no longer an agnostic atheist. I had to change my title to being an agnostic theist. And yeah, it's been wild ever since. There's been more I love the word synchronicity. I think you use it a lot, but there's been more since then. It just kind of confirms my beliefs and my faith. I'm still trying to figure out specifics. I have been attending church more, which is weird for me. I shouldn't use the word weird as sense negative. Uncommon for me, but it's becoming more common. The more I read the Bible, the more it makes sense too. Also, yeah, I could talk forever. I'll try to. How long is this video? Probably too long. It's too long. I'll start to wrap it up. The more I read the Old Testament, the more I understand the New Testament, all the stuff Jesus preached. It's crazy how it all starts to come together and make sense. And that's that. I know this video is probably going long. If you're still watching, I appreciate you very much. The one last thing, I did read this book, The Mountain of Silence. Hold it up so you can see. Obviously, this is my second video. It's not a sponsor. Amazon's not a sponsor. If I can figure out how, I'll put I know I sound like every other YouTuber. I'll put a link in the description. It's a great book. It was written by, that's another thing that probably helped. The gentleman that wrote this book, scholarly, academic, kind of a man of science. He spent a lot of time in the world. He spent a lot of time at the Orthodox Greek monasteries. and he experienced things, and I'm like, if this academic, intelligent guy can believe, and I think there's something else out there, some for Andrew, something for you, if you're watching. Um, but that's it. I won't make this video any longer. Again, I appreciate you folks very much. I appreciate anybody that watched this. If you're not watching, that's okay. If you watched the last one, I appreciate that as well. That's it. My name's Andrew. This is Cross-Eyed. I hope you have a great day and even better tomorrow.